Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broadway Jets YouTube channel. You'll know me from Twitter as NYJ Mike. I'm joined as always by the master of receipts, NYJ Matt and Matt. We're getting close to the draft. Free agency is dwindling away. There's many options at 10 for the Jets to take. One of 5 different things. We're going to talk about Brock Bowers today.
Yeah, we are sponsored by Jet X Factor. If you are new here, go ahead and hit subscribe, like the video, do all that fun stuff. But Mike, the draft is coming up. My birthday is coming up, and my fiance was like, "Hey, what do you want to do for your birthday?" And I was like, "I'm focused on the draft. I care way more about the NFL draft than a dumb random birthday." But Mike, Brock Bowers' conversation and discourse has been fascinating on Twitter, and we talked about the Jets have flexibility and options. And look, Mike, Brock Bowers, if everybody stays healthy, is probably the best pick at 10. If you want the 2024 Jets to go to the promised land, if everybody's healthy, I'm in on Brock Bowers. But if you were to say, hey, look, I think it'd be a clear upgrade at a position of need, and I probably lean taking tackle or receiver, there's like a weird cult following that are like, you're an asshole and you have to take Brock Bowers at 10. So, like, give me the take, whether for or against, if the Jets hand in the card and they have Brock Bowers. How do you feel about that pick in the April 25th NFL draft?
If you're just looking at which guy is going to make the biggest impact this season, it just makes the most sense that it would be Bowers. Because if you take a tackle, where's the tackle going to play? Probably not until Tyron Smith inevitably gets hurt, or Morgan Moses. Moses doesn't usually get hurt. Smith does. Receiver, you have Garrett Wilson, you have Mike Williams. You know, that guy is going to produce because he'll be the third guy, but not literally, you know, a starting player on the base offense. And then Bowers would just most likely start over Conklin. So,
Yeah.
you know, obviously makes sense. You know, it's tough, Matt. It's really tough. I don't know. It's one of those picks where if the Jets go out there and they pick Bowers, I'm going to be happy. You know?
Yeah.
But
They're also at the spot, like, just don't pick defense and we can talk ourselves into liking the pick. Like,
don't pick defense.
Don't pick defense or a quarterback, and I think we're going to like the pick.
Yes.
But the Brock Bowers, like, I watch a lot of college football. It's one of my favorite things to do, bet every game. And
it's very healthy, Matt. That's great.
And it was funny, like, even a year ago, before the 2023 college football season, like, Brock Bowers, if he went to the draft, would have been a top 10 pick.
Well, Matt, what was the draft the Jets were? I think it was last year. The Jets were in all those, like, Trey McBride. Was that 2 years ago or last year?
2 years ago was McBride. Like, Michael Mayer was
Yes.
the one that people claim that the Jets were high on.
Right. Then the Jets signed Conklin and Uzama and drafted Ruckert.
Yeah.
2 years ago. Yes. Okay.
And there's a weird path as well, Mike, where it's like, what the Jets want to do and what we want to do. Like, the Jets probably want to upgrade tight end. And
they probably just want to take another pass rusher. They're sick.
I know.
Out of his mind.
But, Mike, the thing about the tight end position with Rodgers is you don't see that, like, production year over year. And people have put pretty good threads on Bowers, the pros and cons. And one of the cons is he a system of how good Georgia's offense was and then scheming up plays for him. He's not a traditional tight end. He can play in the slot. You can put him out wide. He can block. So he can do everything. And that's not a problem. But there's like the cult that I want to talk about. It's like that weird cousin or aunt or uncle that find God and they go to the family party and they're like, you don't get it. He's going to come back and Jesus is going to return. And you're like, okay, I get it. Like, that's your belief. All good. And you try to, like, go get another beer and they come back and they go, no, you don't get it. I mean, I get it. You want that. And another pro in taking him. And this is the one thing that, again, I'm like the most optimistic fan. Tyler Conklin has not produced, I don't think, as much as Jet fans think. And the reason I bring that up is every time, like, it's the second half player when the Jets are down 20, where Tyler Conklin will get like 3 catches on the final drive for 32 yards, and his final stat line is like 5 for 50, which is fine as a tight end in a terrible Jets offense. But I'm not willing to be like Tyler Conklin's like a top 10 tight end in the NFL, which some Jet fans, for some reason, do. Now, with a normal quarterback, Tyler Conklin can run routes, and he's a good route runner, and maybe he'll pop off. But I don't view Tyler Conklin at all as we can't draft Brock Bowers because we have Tyler Conklin. Like, that is a take I can't get behind.
Right. The thing I mean, it's interesting because we just talked before about purely 2024, who would be the biggest upgrade. And it is interesting because wide receiver 3, if you take one of these receivers, if it's the Rome or if it's whoever's left at 10, Neighbors, or you trade up for Marvin Harrison, there'll be it seems like that guy will be more of an upgrade over Lazard than I guess, because Conklin did. I hear your points. I don't think Conklin was going crazy in the first half of games. I know the Jets' offense was just weird last year, so it's hard to judge stuff. But Conklin did have 61 catches for 620 yards, which is solid production. Which I know you just talked about why we might have to discount that a little bit.
10 catches in the first quarter. Like, that's where,
But also Zach Wilson's historically bad in the first quarter. It's stuff like that. So I don't know, right? It's interesting. Is Bowers going to have that huge impact? The Rodgers stuff with the tight end makes sense also. But look, the last 3 years, back to back to back, Conklin is almost the same exact stat line, basically 60 for 600. It's interesting. It's good. It's solid production. I don't know. Is Bowers going to come in and have 1,000 yards next year?
The trend says no. Like, the trend of like tight ends says no. But you brought up Lazard, which I think is a very interesting point.
Because Lazard should also improve.
Exactly. And there is a path where I think the Jets could trade down and take Brian Thomas Jr., who is like a touchdown machine and a maniac, and won me a lot of money on anytime touchdown scorer in a lot of LSU games last year. But Lazard's going to get better because of Rodgers. But the fact that if Lazard had a normal disappointing year, like a normal, say he had like 700 yards, 2 touchdowns, didn't like move the needle at all, then I think that they consider him more of, hey, he's not going to do that again. He's going to bounce back with Rodgers as a wide receiver 3. Mike Williams as a wide receiver 2 coming off an ACL injury, may not be ready for towards the end of training camp. But Mike, Lazard was inactive in games. He was causing back-breaking penalties at wide receiver. He did nothing. And every time Saleh would make a weird comment like, well, he's under contract, like, they do not trust him. And if it was
the only guy Saleh makes these comments about too, he only makes them about Lazard.
And the inactive thing is like almost how is he inactive when you have a borderline bottom 5 wide receiver group outside of Garrett Wilson, like bottom 5 last year.
Outside of Garrett Wilson last year is number 0 or whatever the last one is. It's 1, 0, bottom 5, bottom 1.
It's bad. So that's where I think wide receiver is more in play. But if the Jets view Brock Bowers as a wide receiver 2 or 3, on top of being your everyday tight end, as like the second or third option, maybe they go that route. I just think that the discourse is, it should be more, it'd be a great upgrade, but maybe not my first option. But there's like a cult, dude. Like, you have to take Brock Bowers. And he's not the type of prospect in comparison to what the Jets need that I think that's like a slam dunk pick. It's just not.
No, and Matt, also, so there's 2 more things that I've been thinking about. One is that there's going to be a subsequent move with whatever the Jets do in the draft. So if you take Bowers, they're going to sign a veteran receiver or draft another guy later, like you said. Maybe there's a trade down in there, right? So you have to build that in. So like if you get Bowers, maybe they'd sign Tyler Boyd. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is, with the way the draft is unfolding, it seems like there's only going to be a couple of positions taken before the Jets in the draft. Quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, maybe like an edge rusher. So to your point before about the type of prospect that Bowers is, the Jets are either going to get Bowers or like the number 1 guy at their position with that pick, or number 2 guy, like a sick prospect. So it's tough.
I think you could take it to the bank. 3 quarterbacks will go, hopefully 4. And then 2 receivers are going to go, and probably 1 tackle. So you get you're going to get your pick of either the 3rd wide receiver, potentially 2. You get your pick of the 2nd to 3rd to 4th offensive tackle, or the number 1 tight end. So you're right. You're gonna get the 5th best non-quarterback likely, which
Yeah.
in my brain I'm like that's a top 5 pick because I'm like washing out the quarterback. So you're gonna leave the draft with a top 5 player non-quarterback to an offense that you've done a great job rebuilding, and a defense that's top 5 in the NFL that only got better.
Right.
Only got better. So I'm
It's
like
insane.
it is such a good feeling, and it's everything we've talked about. Of I really felt like last year they're like we're gonna try to make the playoffs in 2023 and try to win the Super Bowl in 2024, and they're building the window to do that. Is Brock Bowers the guy? Time will tell. I'm not anti the pick. I'm just anti that is the only option the Jets need to consider at 10, which is an
Right.
insane take.
Well, we said it. We've said it on this show a bunch of times. To be clear, the 5 options that the Jets have: you could take Bowers, you could take a receiver, you could take an offensive tackle at 10. You could trade up, you could trade down. So, and obviously, if you trade up or down, it opens up some more possibilities. I don't know if you saw some guy, one of the Jets accounts put up like a flow chart the other day. It was hilarious. There was like 1,000 options of what the Jets could do. So this must have taken a guy
I
5
don't want to
hours.
miscredit. I think that was Jet Talk 24/7.
Oh, I think it was. Yeah, it's great. It was hilarious. It was great.
He's
It was
great.
really it was well done too. But man, yeah, I'm just looking at Conklin's numbers. I'm thinking it really is like it's such the Jets do Joe Douglas again. We've said it. We've given him shit. We've also given him credit where credit's due. You put the Jets in a good spot. It's such a it's just an extra asset now. Where do we want to invest that last bit of juice? Because it's maybe they'll trade back and stretch it out, Matt, and get a couple guys, get some more depth, get a receiver, get another tackle. Maybe they'll just go for the gusto. Yeah, I mean, like, because the Bowers pick is exciting, but it doesn't feel like the Jets had a lot of opportunities with those 2 tight ends on the field, Matt.
Yeah.
Like, I wish Uzama just had like a little bit more production the last couple of years. So we're like, all right, Uzama had 400 yards, Conklin had 600. Maybe it'll be Bowers 8 and Conklin 3 instead. We'll really have a sick position there. I don't know. There's going to be more opportunities too because they're going to have the ball more.
Yep. And it's like you got your tax return back and you're like, where do we spend it? Do you do safe and like redo get the new oven? That's like, I'm trying to think of the worst analogies ever. I love bringing them to the table. What is you get an offensive tackle who you assume is going to play if an injury happens, but like the safe pick is an offensive tackle.
The worst pick is, I mean, in theory, is taking a tight end is not that good.
Yeah, that's like taking the worst pick is if you were to take a defensive player like an edge rusher like Dallas Turner. It's like getting your tax return back and buying a Tesla when you already have like another nice car that you don't need.
Yeah,
like there's no reason to do it. So yeah, we have a clear path. We're gonna do a lot of videos upcoming into the draft. So if you made it this far, as always, DM myself, DM Mike. We'll follow you back on Twitter. There's a guy who's great. I forget his name, but he DM'd me. He's like, I watch all your videos and I hate being that like the shameless like, can you follow me? But I just want to let you know I'm a huge fan of you, Mike. I'm like, dude, I'll 100% follow you back.
People to do that. Fuck yeah. No,
Oregon Trail video did well, Mike. That was a good video.
What did well? The Oregon. Oh, it was great. Yeah, that was fun. We got to make more games. We'll play one this week.
I cannot wait.
What would Bowers' stat line be that you'd be happy with the Jets in just 2024 with the Jets having taken him?
Maybe it's optimistic. I want 4 to 5 touchdowns. I want 750, 800 yards. But again, that you don't see that production from Rodgers in a tight end really outside of a couple of years. So I don't know. And the big thing
they
with
haven't had
Rodgers,
great tight ends. I remember they had Jermichael Finley was the first, and then they had Martellus Bennett one year. Oh, they had Jimmy Graham. Yeah, they had some guys. That's like 3 very good tight ends.
Their production wasn't though that.
That wasn't insane. It never was insane. Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's a good problem. It's finally a good problem to have. I do wonder, man, if the Jets if they go tight end or receiver, what they're gonna do at the swing tackle spot.
Yeah,
because we've talked about it. I like the Carter Warren is cool. I don't know. It's hard to judge these people. I'm not gonna be like, I love Carter Warren or I hate him. I don't really know. Max Mitchell seems like a serviceable backup kind of guy, but it doesn't feel. I would not be comfortable going into the season right now with those 2 as your next 2 tackles. So I wonder what they're going to do, if they're going to sign some other backup swing tackle guy.
Get David Bakhtiari. Who cares? Like, just do it.
I know, but even if you get Bakhtiari and then he can't play, like you need.
I could survive though.
Yeah, I'd be
with
happy with that.
Smith and Moses, Bakhtiari is your true backup, and then you have guys that have played meaningful snaps in the NFL of Warren and Mitchell, and you just have to pray that when the games become more important and matter in December, that you have the healthy guys on the field. And then it's good for Bakhtiari too. It's like rehab the way you need to. You're going to be on like a legit snap count in training camp. Build yourself up that if you need to get thrown in there week 3 or 4, you can survive. So I'm okay with that rather than Cedric Obagwe. I never pronounced his name
Is that right? I think that was actually what it is.
I'd say Cedric O all the time.
Cedio, yeah.
And yeah, maybe I trust Max Mitchell more than like Chuma Adoga. Like I went back a couple of years ago, but Mike, we're in a good spot. If you made this far, don't forget hit subscribe. We're getting to 2,000 soon, Mike. We're gonna get
We're on
to
the
2,000.
road, dude.
Can't wait. All right, good to go.
I wish the season was not in like 5 months. I'm ready to go. I want to see Tyron Smith just like block a guy.
We're getting close.
I want to see it.
All right, have a good one, Mike.
All right.